Welcome to the building episode on the Shades Cahaba Oral History Project. I'm your host, Sean Wright. In this episode of the Shades Cahaba Oral History Project, we're going to talk about the growth of the school building, what was added on, and why it was added on. I'm going to describe it to the best of my abilities, but I will have a version of this podcast on my YouTube page. This version will visually show you how the school has grown and what has changed over the years. Now, if you went to school there, you should be able to see the school in your mind's eye. For those of you who didn't, I hope you still enjoy it. We've already talked about why the school was constructed in earlier episodes. The design of the school seemed to be a popular option. Old Miner High School looked very similar, and a school in Sylacauga was constructed soon after Shades Cahaba and followed its design. Now, the school was shaped like a W. I've also seen it referred to as an H because of two classrooms that extend past the front of the school. Now, when you enter the original front of the school, the door with the owl, there was a hall that went to the left and the right, the office being to the right. Straight ahead was the auditorium. Now, the auditorium today is much the same as it was when it originally opened, except there are no windows. In earlier photos, you can see large windows on both sides of the auditorium. If you go into the auditorium today, you can see where the windows would have been. Of course, they needed windows. It was another year before the school had electricity. It would have been a very dark and unusable room until then. But back to that front hall. There were windows on the front side for ventilation. When you walked down the side hallways, the outside of the W, there were classes to the outsides and windows that opened from the hallway to the courtyard. Construction of the three-wing brick building began in 1919 and cost $52,000. When it was finished in 1920, it had 10 rooms and an auditorium. As the new high school opened, elementary school students from nearby Union Hill Methodist Episcopal School moved into a wooden, two-room building on the high school's property, just to the east. I believe the building was where the Homewood Chamber of Commerce is located now, right next to the playground and driveway exit. A photo from the 1930s calls it the band room. In 1922, an unfinished, unpainted wood frame building was built behind the school to serve as both lunchroom and woodshop. By 1925, the school was getting crowded, and a first addition was completed the summer of 1926, and a second addition was finished in the summer of 1927. Now, the second addition included a new lunchroom, and the addition also allowed the 3rd through 6th grade students to be moved to the main building. I'm not exactly sure of the order of the additions, but I'll describe what they were. Each hallway on the outside of this W school shape was extended. The Montgomery Highway side added 3 more classrooms, and the east side added 4 classrooms. Now, this east side addition was 2 stories tall and included a dedicated lunchroom on the lower level. For those of you who are recent attendees of Shades Cahaba, the school's EDP, Extended Day Program, is in the old lunchroom. Now, at the same time, a new building was built further to the east, what was called the Grammar School in a 1930s picture of the building. This new wing was connected by a covered hallway from the original school. The elementary school kids were isolated from the high school kids, and I believe they occupied the top floor of this wing, which had 6 classrooms. On a 1939 blueprint of this building, it shows rooms for the high school on the lower level for home ec, shop, science, biology, girls' and boys' dressing rooms, and a large storage room. When the elementary students were moved into the building, Union Hill Methodist Episcopal School and Shades Cahaba combined under the same administration and were called Shades Cahaba School from then on. Now, before I get too far ahead of myself, I want to go back to those first additions. When I attended Shades Cahaba in the early 1970s, there always seemed to be a lot of unnecessary stairs. The stairs have been turned into ramps now. If you look at the Montgomery Highway side of the building today, you'll notice an archway and door. This was where the new addition started. When walking from the front to the back of the school in that hallway, you walk down a few stairs, walked a couple of feet, and then go up more stairs to the new extended hallway. Now, in this landing area, there was a door to the left that went to a courtyard, and I believe there may have been a bathroom where the arch is back when I was there. Memories are fuzzy. Sue Grogan mentioned that she thought the arch might have been a driveway. Sure enough, according to the blueprints in a photo, that was a drive-through for cars and trucks to make deliveries to the courtyard. That is just about the place that deliveries of coal would have been made for the boiler on the back of the auditorium. Now, this was the last of the construction for some time. By the early 1940s, it was apparent that the school was running out of space, and World War II put a halt on any construction and even general maintenance due to mainly not having anybody able to help. There's a great photo of parents and students building a sidewalk from the front of the school to connect with the connecting hallway between the high school and grammar wing. This sidewalk is still there, and it's just above the walkway that goes to the gym door. Now, the school provided materials, and the parents took it upon themselves to complete the project. A call was put out to all parents and siblings old enough to work to come to the school and help clean up. By 1944, things had gotten so bad at the school that the Jefferson County Board of Education authorized an updated heating system, radiator heating, that replaced the pot-bellied stoves. The PTA raised $10,000 to update the lighting, which had been condemned for 2 years. They added Venetian blinds and did some minor repairs. $2,500 was given by Birmingham industrialist and philanthropist Erskine Ramsey. Ramsey High School in Southside is named after him. Now, even before the war ended, there was a call for a new, larger, and more modern high school, and things were set in motion. Shades Valley High School was constructed, and the class of 1949 was the last high school class at Shades Cahaba, leaving the elementary students behind. During the switch from high school to elementary school, the concrete owl that had been standing watch on the roof of the school for almost 3 decades was removed. No one knows why, but some believe that the owl was going to be moved to the new Shades Valley High School. There had also been years of pranks by students climbing up on the roof and coating the owl with paint, and the administration might have just been fed up with cleaning up the mess. In the 1950s, shortly after the school's conversion, the county and city both provided a total of $67,000 for a new auditorium and gymnasium. There was a front entrance that overlooked the playground and has since been closed. The foyer of the auditorium has been converted to offices and storage for the PE teachers. In the mid-1950s, when Montgomery Highway was widened, a pedestrian tunnel was built out of concern for student safety. This tunnel became known as the underpass. Now, if you'd like to know more about the underpass, make sure you listen to the underpass episode. Now, not much happened during the next 3 decades. There had even been talk about closing Shades Cahaba as the student population had been decreasing during the 1970s. Luckily, this did not happen. The student population eventually turned around, and the need for more space was apparent. A building renovation in the early 1990s moved the main entrance of the school from the side facing Hollywood Boulevard to what had been a back corner facing southwest to Independence Drive at about a 45-degree angle. A new library, lunchroom, and offices were built in what had been a courtyard in the middle of the school and behind the auditorium. Other improvements were made to the school as well. A 2-story addition was built on the side of the gym with a hall for 5th grade students on top and an art room and special needs classes below. Most recently, the lunchroom was updated and security features added throughout the school. For 100 years, Shades Cahaba School has educated thousands of students, and even though the school has grown and expanded, it's still the same school that welcomed students in the fall of 1920. There are many years left in this school. The Shades Cahaba Oral History Project is sponsored by SeanWrightArt.com. When you go there, you'll find shirts and accessories featuring the exclusive Shades Cahaba Centennial logo. This logo is based on an image on the cover of the OWL yearbook back in the 1920s. It's been updated to celebrate the 100 years of the school, and it helps us to offset the cost of producing and publishing this podcast. You can find a link to the store on the podcast homepage at ShadesCahabaHistory.com. Subscribe to the show wherever you find your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you subscribe to your favorite podcast. You can also listen directly on our website at shadescahabahistory.com. If you like the show, we'd appreciate it if you would rate us at Apple Podcast. And if you love the show, tell one friend. Heck, tell 2 or 3 friends. That helps us out more than anything else. See you next time on the Shades Cahaba Oral History Project.